Friends, Man vs. Wild began in 2006, but 10 years before that, in 1996, Bear Grylls was spending his holidays in Africa with his army friends. In Zambia, they went skydiving. Bear already had plenty of experience in parachuting because he had jumped out of airplanes many times before. Everything was going as planned. One by one, his friends jumped out of the plane. Then Bear put on his parachute and leaped into the sky. As soon as he jumped, he started falling towards the ground at nearly 200 kilometers per hour. 15,000 feet, 10,000 feet, 5,000 feet. Within seconds, he was only 3,000 feet above the ground. He pulled the parachute cord, but his speed didn't slow down. He was still dropping fast. When he looked up, he saw that the parachute cords were tangled. He tried hard to fix them, but the ground was getting closer and closer. Finally, he crashed through the trees and hit the ground. The impact was like an explosion. He landed flat on his back and felt as if someone had driven a stone into his spine. He was conscious, but he couldn't move. Tears rolled down his eyes, and his only hope was that one of his friends would find and save him. The pain was unbearable, so much that he thought maybe death would be easier. But death didn't come. A few hours later, his friends found him, put him in a car, and rushed him to the hospital. According to Bear, the pain was so severe that he kept losing consciousness again and again. When the doctors gave him an injection, the pain slowly started to fade. The next day, he asked the doctor if he would ever recover. The doctor showed him the X-rays and said, "Your 3 spinal vertebrae, T10, T8, and T12, are broken. These are the strongest bones in the human back. You will never walk again." Those words shattered the 21-year-old Bear Grylls. A man who used to climb mountains could not even walk to the bathroom anymore. Bear later said that the pain of falling wasn't as bad as spending a year lying in a hospital bed. He used to talk to himself, blaming himself for opening the parachute too late. He replayed that moment again and again in his mind. He couldn't sleep at night, fell into depression, his body stiffened, and the pain only got worse. Everyone thought he was a positive person, but in reality, he was just a 21-year-old boy, scared, broken, and hopeless. Then, one day, his eyes fell on a picture of Mount Everest hanging on the wall. It was a dream he had shared with his father. He struggled to stand up, walked to the picture, and said to himself, "No matter what happens, I will not only walk again, I will climb Mount Everest." That sentence became a part of his soul. The next day, he remembered what his grandmother once told him. "Son, whatever happens in life, happens for good." Bear started thinking. He could have died that day. He could have lost his hands, legs, or eyesight, but only 3 bones were broken. That meant God had a bigger plan for him. When he truly accepted that thought, his depression began to fade. His mind calmed down, his body started healing, the wounds closed, and the bones began to mend. One of his friends told him, "Life and death are in God's hands." He has given you another chance. Bear became thankful. Thankful for his life, for his broken back, and for his dreams. He said, "The moment I recover, I will touch the top of Mount Everest." That goal became his greatest strength. People laughed at him, but he never gave up. In 6 months, he was discharged from the hospital, and within a year, he completely recovered. But the army told him he could never rejoin the special forces. He had no job, and no money. Climbing Mount Everest required almost 50 lakh rupees, and he had none. Within a month, he wrote to 250 companies asking for sponsorship. Everyone said no, except one CEO, who was moved by Bear's passion and decided to support him. In 1998, at just 23 years old, only 18 months after his accident, Bear Grylls climbed Mount Everest. It was not easy. 4 climbers lost their lives. Bear came close to death twice, but he made it. His story spread across the world. Documentaries were made, and soon, Discovery Channel offered him a show. The show the world would come to know as Man vs. Wild. Even today, Bear says he still feels pain in his back, but he believes every person must fight through their pain. His story teaches us 2 powerful lessons. First, life doesn't hurt us to break us, it tests us to make us stronger. And second, never give up. No matter how bad things get, keep moving forward. Because bravery is not living without fear, it's facing your fear despite being afraid.